Welcome back to our channel, everyone. Again with you, Omar from Brownsburg Motorsports. Today we have a 2017 BMW X1 with the B48 engine. Now, before we dive into deeper in what we're gonna do, this procedure is gonna apply to any BMW with a B48 engine that has a transverse engine. So you have the engine here, transmission over there. The belt is not facing you, it's facing the passenger side. So whether it's an X1, X2, or a Mini Cooper, this procedure is going to be the same. At least the placement of the parts between the BMW Mini Cooper will be the same. The procedure is going to be the same for any BMW though. So this is the 4-cylinder engine, the B48 engine, the 4-cylinder 2.0 turbocharged engine, and it is a common point of failure for the oil filter housing itself to crack. It is plastic. BMW, when they made the transition from the N series engine to the B series engine, a lot of components went from aluminum housings to plastic, and one of them was the oil filter housing. So a lot of times I see these with the housing itself cracked. The gasket will still be in good shape, surprisingly, but the housing itself will be cracked. So we will be showing you the step-by-step on how to remove and replace that oil filter housing, replace the gasket, so the oil cooler would be coming out, an oil change would need to be done. Obviously a coolant flush would need to be done. And one more thing we would be replacing is the coolant flange that's connected, well, not connected, it's mounted to the engine with 3 E10 bolts, and it sits right on top of the oil filter housing. So we have the oil filter housing at the bottom, the connector hose is right a little bit on top of it under the intake manifold. It is also a common point of leak, and since we're gonna be there, since we're gonna already remove everything, the part was, I want to say $25, $35 maybe, original. It's totally worth it to get that replaced while you're there. You don't want to do the oil filter housing a couple months down the road, that coolant flange goes out or starts leaking, and you have to remove almost everything again to do that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight to it. And since we're going to be removing a lot of connectors, we are going to be disconnecting the battery. That's located right here. Let's get to it. All right, so I have Jeremy here, he's gonna help me. We have a clip on the side. I'm gonna go ahead and start by removing that. And there's a clip on the other side as well. Jason, Jeremy will be the one to remove that. And then we're just gonna slide this. And our battery is right there. Now we don't have to remove we're not removing the battery. We are just disconnecting the ground. So Jeremy, if you could take this out of our sides. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my 10mm. And I'm gonna loosen the negative terminal right there. Jeremy, could you grab me a towel, brother?
I already had it.
Thank you, sir.
It's not a towel, but it'll work.
Yeah, anything that would work, honestly. Towel or shirts. There we go. I still liked it better when it was in the trunk. Honestly. And the reason why we're removing the battery is because we are dealing with a lot of electric components that we will be disconnecting. And so it is definitely a good idea to disconnect the battery and wrap the ground terminal around a fabric piece, so that way it doesn't ground itself to the body and close the circuit. So let's go ahead and move on to the next step. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start with the air intake hose over here. We got 2 10mm. We got one right here. All right, and this should, there we go. And then we just have to slide it out of here. There we go. That's the air intake hose that goes to the airbox. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this on the side. And make sure you save all your screws, obviously, in order, in bags, if it's your first time or you didn't do this. If it's your first time or if you don't do this a lot. Anyway, the next step would be we're gonna go ahead and be removing this cover over here as well, because we do need to remove this upper tie bar or upper radiator support, because we need to remove the fan. The fan has to come out in order for us to be able to access all of this. So we're gonna go about this. I'm gonna start with let's start with the airbox. See if we are gonna have to remove the airbox. I'm gonna grab my 10mm that I just had here. All right, so like I was saying, we are gonna go ahead and remove the air box. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my flathead. We can release this clamp here. I just tried to mess with that connector, but it wouldn't budge. I think it just seized from, I don't know, there's a lot of debris and sand, and I guess that is the weather in the Midwest. So, okay, I already removed that 10mm here. There is a guide for the harness over here. I'm just gonna try and wobble that out. There we go. And I should be able to just, there we go. There we go. Now we can see that connector right there. I'm gonna go ahead and release that lock. And now I should be able to push it down, or even bring my, there we go. Perfect. So the connector has a lock. You just have to push the lock outward. And I got my pick in there, and I pushed this tab up. When I pushed that tab up, it released it from the lock on the airbox or the mass airflow sensor, and it came out. Okay, now moving on. I'm just gonna move things as they come along. I know my objective right now is to get to the fan. The fan has to come out no matter what. So I'm gonna start with the obvious bolt. Grab my T30. This is where Jeremy usually comes in with the tools. All right, I got the T30 there. This is what the screws looks like. T30, and that's the socket. They make these in 1/4 inch, and obviously they make these in 1/4 inch, and they also make them in 3/8. Okay. And so far, all of them are the same length. So just be careful with that aspect. You're removing bolts from the same spots. Make sure you keep an eye on whether they are the same length or not, or whether you know whether they are different. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and put these screws on the side together. Perfect. All right, let's see here. Let's see if we can remove this without removing that. I'm gonna try the T30 or T40. I think it's a T30. Let me try the T30 first. There is definitely a T40. Okay. All right, I got my T40 socket. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get. If you have removed these already, apologize about that if we didn't have to. It's been a minute since I've done one of these, even though it's a common issue. I've been doing most of these on the, what is it called? On the 3 series, 5 series, and I've done it on an X3 as well. X3, yes. All right, so that's the bolt in the middle. That right there. I'll just remove it from there. I guess we do not have to remove this. I think we can just slide this on both sides. Slide it like this. There is the lines, the latch lines for the, obviously, for the hood lock or the hood latch. That's attached to the bottom. You see how the line goes through there, to the tabs. There we go. Perfect. Now, the next step is going to be our fan. And let's see here. I'm just gonna go over the hoses we have here. We got this one that goes to the, if I remember correctly, this is just like on the E90, on the N52. They are as brittle, and they break the moment you look at them. So be careful with that. I would recommend if you can remove that. Well, in this scenario I can't. I can maybe remove it from there and twist it all the way to the side just to be on the safe side. And I believe I'm gonna go ahead and do that. The plastic on these reservoir lines is very brittle. I'm gonna zoom in as well a little bit. So this is the hose I'm removing. On the side of it, it's got a metal clamp, or like a metal, I guess you can call it a metal lock. It's one of those BMW hoses. There we go. This is what I'm talking about. I didn't have to take it off, but I took it off just to be, just to show you guys. And I'm gonna go ahead and remove it from the, there we go. So let me bring that lock back and show you how it locks up. There we go, so you guys could see it. There we go, that's how it locks up. And you just bring a flathead and push it out. So now I can maybe set this hose like this out of my sight. I hope everything is clear and in the picture. I'm gonna try and show you as many details as I possibly could. Okay, so this hose for this one. That one is gonna go here. So this is gonna go there. For now, we have the upper radiator hose. Actually, yep, there is upper radiator hose. Then we have the harness. The harness has 2 tabs. So that connector over there. Let's see if you guys could see it. We have this connector. It's got a tab over here, a tab on the other side. We're just gonna press them both at the same time and pull out the connector. So let me get the camera here for you guys to see. And it came out. Yeah, it's very brittle. Very brittle. Be careful, you guys, because this plastic can break at any second. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my clip remover and try to follow these. There's clips that are holding. Clip stayed there. Same clip stayed there. Okay, so none of the clips actually came out. Everything is brittle and everything is. Same thing. It just came out of the clip. Okay, no worries. I mean, it's not like we cannot guide it through later. We can definitely guide it through back over there. So now we have this hose disconnected. We have the hose. I think that, yeah, there's 2 screws. This one and that one. That's where they are. Right? I want to make sure. Yep. So there's these 2 screws and there is 2 clips. 1 clip actually on this side and 2 clips on the other side. Let me first confirm that those screws are actually T30. There we go, that's what I thought. So this is the first screw. As you can see, T30 right there. Same thing on this side. So 2 screws. I mean, when you look at them, it looks like a plastic, but on the inside it's a T30. That's the T30 I'm talking about. You can find that in, like I mentioned earlier, 1/4 inch 3/8 or the 1/4 inch drive on a 1/4 inch drive gun. All right, now we should be able to lift up, but there we go. There's a clip on the side, there's a clip on the other. I'm gonna use my pick. We are definitely gonna need a pick for this. I know one side has 1 clip and the other side has only 1. I mean, sorry, one has 1 and one has 2. There we go. That's the first one. That's the first side. And this side, yeah, this side only has 1. And I'll show you these clips once I actually get the fan out. There we go. Okay, so that's 1 hose. Can't see if there's anything holding it from the bottom. It doesn't look like it. Okay. Oh, I thought I clapped again. Just be careful routing these hoses. That's really the only thing that's gonna hold it. And you might think removing the hose, maybe if you remove it from that side, yes. But it's a little bit iffy right now to be able to remove it from there. And it looks like we are gonna have to remove it. Actually, no. No, we just have to be careful. Jeremy, I'm giving you a hand, brother.
Alright.
Jeremy's gonna help me pull out on the fan while I move the hose out of the way. Go ahead, Jeremy, slowly, bro. I know it's not just there.
Something's stuck in there.
No, it's the hose. See if you can pull it to your side like that. Hold on. Yes, the hose.
You sure?
Hold on. Let me see.
Right.
It's the hose, yeah. There you go. Go ahead. Slowly. Go ahead. Guys, they just have a lot of padding on the radiator side. You see that padding, bro? There we go. All right, so as you saw, I took a little bit of help from, yes, finesse and help from Jeremy. But all right, so as far as the clips I was talking about earlier, you can see them right here. So we have that one clip here, one other clip over there, and this is on the driver's side. And on the passenger side, we only have the one clip. This is upside down, but I just want to show you. You gotta push it out. So you gotta push this out, and then while you lift up on the fan, and it comes out just like that. I would say if you're doing this by yourself, definitely try and get that hose out, which we are gonna remove it right now. It's just easier for me to remove it by myself once that fan is out. So to remove the hose, which like I said, I could have done before I do the fan, it would have been much easier, for sure. I'm gonna leave my camera right there, and I'm gonna zoom in. So this is the hose we're removing, right? And it goes all the way down to that connector. Now you guys see that metal clip right here? Right there. Let me grab my... That. You guys see that? That's what I'm gonna try to lift up. And then I do have that, I do have the shield under the car. I'm just gonna wobble it until it comes off. And as you see, not a single drop came out. Not a single drop came out of here. So let me zoom out so you guys could see. Yeah, not a single drop came out. I maybe could have done this before the fan. So I would tell you, yes, if you're doing this by yourself, you can maybe try and squeeze your hands in there and get that hose before the fan. That's definitely... All right, so the next thing is I'm gonna go ahead and remove this auxiliary water pump. It is attached by a bolt, there is a connector on it. And we also have a hose that goes from the thermostat or water pump. So the thermostat water pump is an assembly here on this engine. So let me go ahead and bring the camera down so you guys could see and have an idea. And look at what I'm seeing. Look at what I'm seeing. Okay, first of all, I'm sure you guys could see all the coolant right behind that auxiliary water pump. Once I remove it, you'll see it. But the first bolt is, I want to say reverse torque, maybe 12. I have 11 in my hand. Yep, it's 12. And I'm gonna need my extension. I know there's few hoses that are attached to this auxiliary water pump, and we are going to try to disconnect them to get everything out of our way. It will make it much easier to do the job. Now I know I haven't tapped in from the bottom yet, but I'm gonna try to get as much from the top as possible before I get the car up on the lift. That's the bolt, that's the socket, reverse torque, it is an E12. I'm gonna put this bolt on the side here. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and figure out these hoses. Well, we got a connector over there. So I'm gonna grab my pick and my flathead. I'm gonna start with my flathead first to see if I can release that lock. You guys could see that, right? Let me zoom in for you guys. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, I'll try to keep you guys as much as possible in the loop. So my hand is not in the way, it is not in the way. I'm gonna release that tab. Come on now. There we go. The tab is released. Now we should be able to push on it, to push on that tab, like push on the tab and release it. But if that doesn't work for you easily, you got two options. First option, bring some WD-40, spray it on that connector, let it soak for a second, and then give it another try, and it will work wonderfully. If not, if you have one of these pick 90 degree or a hook, you can come from the back or from the bottom. Give me 1 second, let me make sure I place it properly. Lift up on the tab. Just gotta be able to see it actually, to be able to do this. Lift up on the tab and voila. So that's the tab I'm talking about, the tab that locks it to the components. You lift up onto the pick and it comes right off. No hassle, or you know, you're not gonna be breaking anything if you do that. Okay, so the next thing, I have a hose that's coming, like I said, from that side, and then there is a hose on the bottom. So we have two hoses. We got the hose over here. Let me see if I can show you guys. I really like to show you everything. Perfect. Okay, so we have a hose on the bottom right there. You guys could see that, and we have a hose right there. I'm gonna remove the one in the bottom. Yeah, I'm gonna remove the one in the bottom and swing this to the side here, far away from me. Or you can remove the one on the back, or you can remove them both. I'm gonna try the one on the side here. It has that metal clip, just like every other BMW. If my head is in the way, I apologize. It's just there is no space. There we go. There we go. Not a single drop. That is crazy, man. That is totally crazy. Okay, now, you know what? I think I'm just gonna go ahead and remove this entire thing if I have. No, I don't have to. I think I can just, there we go. Push it on the side. And no, it is not gonna affect the rubber hose. That's what they're rubber for. And this should be, you can open this from the clamp. There's a clamp right there. If you guys could see that. Let me see if you can see that. There we go. I'm gonna try and show you first and then I'll zoom out. But yeah, there's a clamp right here. It's a plastic clamp that's holding that hose. All right, so here we go. So that's the, I'm gonna bring my camera from here and show you guys the clip I was talking about. Because you guys gotta see this. There we go, perfect. That's the one right there. So this is the clip that was holding that hose, the entire dry hose over here together. Oh, the release was from the bottom. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for the release. But you can always disconnect it from the engine area and just, like, you know, push it back like this. And get these lines disconnected. I mean, they're not connected to the oil filter housing. They're just like held on with tabs. And I'm gonna start by this one. All right, so that one has already been, as you saw earlier, I already loosened that. I'm gonna try and see if I can loosen the second one right behind it.
There's a little bit of a pain to get to these hoses, especially with this bar right here. I might need a flathead or something to be able to pry on that hose. Thank you, sir. Alright. It's not a hose, it's just a wire loom. That's what it is. That's what sucks about it, is I cannot really exert a lot of force, and I do apologize if my hand is in the way. I think I'm just gonna remove the entire, yeah. Try this. There we go. There we go. That's one, that's two. And then we have a few on the side over here. These ones, I think here we go. I just removed that. And then we have a few up top of them. So I wish I can show you guys exactly what I'm doing. I'm just basically, these wire looms are attached with tabs, just like that. You can see that. Yeah, just like this over here, and just like that over there. So I'm just removing them from where they attach by using flatheads, maybe a clip remover like this here. I'm just going over them one by one, because definitely they do need to be removed so we can actually remove the oil filter housing. Yep. All right. That's another one. I think the rest we have to come to them from the top. I think so. That's loose. Yeah, so all around it right now is loose. As far as the screws, we might be able to access all of them from the top. I don't think we're gonna have an issue with any of them. All right, so now that we have all the hoses, all the harnesses, I'm pretty sure everything besides that, actually here. I had the parts in my hand. I thought we finished the harnesses, but there is one harness. Oh, actually, no, they're loose. They're loose, yeah, I thought they weren't. But no, everything is loose. Everything is out of the way. Perfect. Now we can go ahead, I can go ahead and show you guys the new part. I ordered the Vimo, which is the original BMW manufacturers for these housings. There is a lot of aluminum aftermarkets online, on Amazon, on even I think Dorman made it, but not for the transverse engine, but for the 3 Series and 4 Series, because the oil filter is pointing to the top. On this, the oil filter is pointing to the bottom. So I think they made those for that one. I've never personally tested it out, so I cannot really tell you for a fact whether those are good or not. All I know is that for this, I would recommend something original, at least until we have more factories out there, European factories. Hopefully they'll make us some good upgrades. Anyway, this is how our oil filter housing is seated. That's the Vimo I told you about. I will link the description. I will link the part in the description below for you guys. So the bolts we have is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 3 on the top. As you see, 1, 2, 3. And then we have, what is it at? We have 1 here and 1 here. So out of all the bolts that you see facing you, the only ones we will be removing are the E10. I'm pretty sure it's E10. Let me double check. E10. Yes, the only ones we'll be removing are the reverse torque E10. That's what it looks like. Those will be the only ones we removed. The T30 are what mounts the oil cooler to the actual housing. So that's, that mount that to that. See where it stops? But the rest of the E10, those will have to be off. So let's go ahead and hop on directly to that. That's the first one right there. We got the second one right here. The last one, we have to move the harnesses a little bit out of the way to be able to access it. Can't really see it. I know where it's at, but I cannot fully see it. because of these harnesses. Okay, there we go. One more harness out of the way. There is no way around this, around these harnesses. You just have to keep moving them left and right. I might have to disconnect that pressure sensor over there just to get more space. Okay, I'm gonna grab my pick so I can disconnect this. There we go. Perfect. Okay, the harness is removed now, or that connector is removed. Let me see what this is. There we go. Let me push that out of the way. We should be able now to get to that third bolt in the top. So we got 3 in the top, 1 on the side, and 1 on the bottom. There we go. And since accessing this was a pain, I'm gonna go ahead and remove it completely. Only gonna use my hand, honestly. It wasn't really very tight, to be honest with you. I mean, I understand the aluminum bolts mounting to the engine, so you know, I can't be scared. But this is the original oil filter housing. Pretty sure this was never replaced before. Car has only 54,000 miles on it, by the way, which is very sad. And this is not the first time that I see this clearance at such low mileage. Last time was a Mini Cooper. No, last time wasn't a Mini Cooper. Last time was a 5 Series. It was a 5 Series. It was a 530. Okay, that one is open. So we have all 3 screws now are loose on top. Then we have 1 screw in the side and 1 screw in the bottom. Moving on to the next one. The next ones, both of them. So the last 2, 1 in the middle on the left side. So like by the left side, I mean here. And 1 all the way in the bottom. I'm gonna start with the 1 at the bottom. And I'm gonna bring a shorter extension. So I don't have the radiator. Here we go. I showed you the boss location earlier. It's very accessible once you do everything that I've done so far. So you don't have to worry, you know, like I know I cannot show you, unfortunately. I will try and show you before I remove it. I'm moving it with my hand right now, actually. Like I'm literally loosening it with my hand. It's not all that tight. And now the last one. Last one also, I'm going to remove it with my hand. Another common issue on these are the water pump and thermostats. It's very, with low mileage, like, you know, it's really kind of, I want to say sad. It is sad, honestly. It really is. If it had high mileage, I would go totally understand, but low mileage and the housing breaks, not even the gasket. The gasket held on more than the, okay. So now you guys could see. Let me see if I can show you. Sorry about the background noise. As you can see, that's the housing. It's loose now. I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. I'll show you again. You could see that clearly. I went ahead and basically gonna try and extract it from here, from the top. The only thing is the hoses, and you gotta be careful. Sorry if I think I just hit the phone with my shoulder, so I apologize about that. All right, so here we go. As you see, that is exactly what it's hit. That's exactly. So first we have the spot here that's broken. Wow. And the second spot is right there. I'm sure you guys could see that. So the gaskets, I think I dropped the gasket, or it stayed here. So both the gasket and the plastic failed in this scenario. You see how that broken piece right there, like it's missing from here, and then on this side here as well, that broken piece is missing from this side. This is how these oil filter housing fails. BMW did the transition from aluminum to plastic when they started the B series engine. So the B48, B36, and the B58 engines, all of them have plastic housings, and this is the result. Plastic heats up, gets cold, heats up, gets cold, it becomes brittle, it breaks, and then starts leaking oil and coolant in the engine bay area. And so that's our housing. I'm gonna go ahead and get this out, get the new one in, and I'll show you what we're gonna do next. All right, so before we hop on to the next step, I want to show you guys the hose I was talking about earlier. That is the one right there, where the shadow of my, actually let me get my finger there better. This is what the hose looks like, and I'll share the part number and the part number and the link in the description below for it. That's what the part looks like. Held on with 3 screws. All of them are comes with a gasket ready on it. You guys can see that. Held on with 3 screws. All of them are 3 bolts. All of them are same size as the what is it called? The oil filter housing. So all of them are reverse torque E10. And you can access it simply like this. Actually, it's not E10, it's an E8. I forgot. Which one was the E10? What was I thinking about? Sorry about misleading you guys there for a second, but it is a reverse torque and it is an E8. That's what the socket looks like. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my ratchet, grab my extension, and I should be able to reach it with a not very short extension. It's better if I get a longer extension. So let me get a longer extension. I'll show you how we're gonna do this. All right, so I'm gonna zoom out a little bit just so you guys could see the angle I'm gonna come at this at. I mean, it's not really hard. It's direct access right there. You just need a long extension. And you need to be staring at it dead in the eye. And definitely 2 hands. I don't know why I removed my gloves, but I'm gonna regret that here in the next 5-10 minutes. Let me see if I can access that bolt. There we go. Now the bolt is loose enough that I can grab it with my hand. That's what it looks like. I'm gonna put this on the side here. Move on to the next one. I'm sorry if my hand is in the way. I have to get it in the right angle first. Once it's loose, you can really remove the ratchet and just do it with a socket and extension directly. And you might be able to even access it with your hand and grab it. Because here we go. This is the second one. Alright, that's the second one. And then lastly, the one at the bottom. Again, sorry about my hand if it's in the way. I have to be able to see it. Okay, it's loose. I can remove this with my extension and socket. And now we should be able to, there we go. That is our, and I'm glad actually we're doing this right now because that gasket, look at it from the side, it is flattened out. I mean, I'm expecting it to be flattened out, but it's a little bit hard. It's not as rubbery as the new one. Yep. So I'm glad we're doing this now since, you know, it's we're right there, so might as well get it done right. You know what I mean? Now we're gonna move on to the next step. We're gonna install this hose back, and then we're gonna install the oil filter housing. I'm gonna have this next scene on a little bit of speed, just so I can make this as short, as sweet for you guys as possible. All right, so quick recap before I carry on. Went ahead and tightened I installed the coolant flange in the top. I installed the oil filter housing, tightened all the bolts all around that. I pushed the wire loom back with the tabs against the oil filter housing. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and I also connected the connector that was right there. I don't know if you guys could see that, yeah, but the connector from earlier were disconnected. Went ahead and connected that as well. Everything is tight, everything in place. I'm gonna go ahead and hook up the secondary coolant pump, and the only thing we gotta make sure is that everything is in line. All right, you guys, as you see over there, we have finished the job. The only few things I'm gonna mention that take your time with the bolts, take your time putting everything back together. You definitely wanna make sure you put everything back together correctly. The steps were, the steps of putting everything back together, you just reverse the steps that we took off everything. I do have a video, obviously, it's a little bit fast forwarded, but just there for you guys if you missed a step or you forgot something. The only few things I would mention, first of all, the bleeding the coolant, the system is going to be empty. So what we're going to do is you open up the drain plug, not the drain plug, the bleeding screw right there. If you guys don't see it, you open up the bleeding screw, maybe like halfway through, you fill it up all the way to the top over here to the neck, will start bubbling. The air will start coming out. Leave it for a few minutes. Do the same process again and again and again until the level stays steady. This is with the car turned off. Then obviously before you before you start the car, make sure you put the oil. The car takes 5.5 quarts of 0W20. I would recommend Motul, Valvoline, Castrol, Mobil One, Liquimoli. All of these are really good brand. I would recommend any of those. I think BMW contract now with Shell, if I'm not mistaken. I think in 2017 or 2018 they updated their contract from Castrol to Shell, but that's neither here or there. Point is 0W20, full synthetic, of course, 5.5 quarts oil. Please make sure you don't forget that. We had a small accident, that's why you guys see the new shirt. Small accident yesterday. The drain plug was cross-threaded when we removed it, so we didn't want to stop there. We went ahead and finished the job, and we contacted the customer to tell him, let him know what's going on. Anyway, we were able to get that taken care of. We rethreaded the drain plug hole. Went from M12 by 1.5 to M13 by 1.5 or 1.75, I think. Anyway, I will drop the link in the description below for that kit off of Amazon. It is amazing. It does wonders if you are at a crunch, because the customer does need his car at a timely manner. But we will be dropping a video on how to do the oil pan on these, because we do have to get that done sooner or later. Other than that, I didn't show you how to put the covers up top over there. Those were pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. Yes, so once you get the oil and they get the coolant, you start the car, you leave it running for about 10-15 minutes. You want to see if you have any lights on the dash, coolant low, oil low, whatever, and you turn on the heat, highest temperature, highest, doesn't matter highest speed or not, but highest temperature, just so that you can observe whether you're gonna get heat in the cabin or not, and you watch the coolant level at the same time. With this open, with the cap closed, and with the bleeding screw closed, you leave it running, like I said, until you get heat. Whenever you get heat in the cabin, that's when you go ahead and turn off the car, let it cool off. You add more coolant with the car turned off, just like I said at the beginning. You open up the bleeding screw, open up the cap, fill it up to the top. It will keep bubbling out of the bleeding screw and out of the cap as well. And once that's done, you do this procedure a couple times, and then you should be okay. I would recommend test driving the car a few times, near you, like 1 mile, 2 mile distances around you, to make sure it's not low. And obviously over the next 2-3 days, keep an eye on the coolant level. It's going to take a couple days for the coolant level to get steady, and it should drop a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean maybe quarter of a quart. So not like 2 or 3 quarts. So you're not supposed to, come back tomorrow and find the expansion tank or the coolant reservoir empty. It would be maybe like quarter of it is missing, or just a tad bit, basically. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please, if you have any question, make sure you drop them in the comment section below, or contact me on social media. My Instagram and TikTok account are both in the description below. But like always, make sure you like and follow for more videos.